Tonight on Hard Copy.
The truth behind the headlines from across the country and around the world. They claim milk does a body good, but find out why some brands may be doing more harm than good.
Up next, got milk? You may wish you didn't after tonight's Hard Target investigation exposes what's really in some of it.
Milk is loaded with powerful growth hormones, hormones that should never be in the human body.
Imagine a cow on crack cocaine. That's how author Robert Cohen describes something shot into millions of cows on American farms.
We genetically engineer a hormone that produces more milk when we didn't need more milk.
While Cohen admits calcium is good for you, he says leafy green vegetables have lots more calcium than milk.
If you look at nature's perfect food, human breast milk, there are 33 milligrams of calcium per 100-gram portion. Potato chips have 40, beans have 50, chickpeas 150, amaranth, a grain, has 267.
Cohen says dairy products are a poor source of calcium for another reason.
Every scientist in the world knows that protein inhibits calcium absorption, and milk is liquid meat. It's protein.
What is in milk that you say is poisonous, and why would the government be covering this up?
Well, what's in milk? You're drinking body fluids from other animals. 60% of the cows in America have leukemia virus. 80% have something called paratuberculosis. You don't want to eat something with that name, paratuberculosis. You've got irritable bowel syndrome in America. That's what it causes. 4 million American women have irritable bowel syndrome. You're talking about if your doctor said, I want you to eat today 53 slices of bacon because that cholesterol is good for you, you're eating from your dairy products the same cholesterol contained in 19,000 slices of bacon this year. By age 52, 1 million slices of bacon's worth of cholesterol. You don't want that in your body.
Of real concern, though, you talk about the bovine growth hormone.
Hormone is the big word here. There are 4,000 mammals. There are 500,000 different hormones. Only one hormone, this is the big secret the dairy industry doesn't want you to know, only one hormone is identical in all of nature between two animals. It's human and cow. It's the most powerful growth hormone in our body. Drink a 12-ounce glass of milk. Double the only hormone that makes breast cancer grow once you get it.
I just assume it's milk. No, I don't. What's in the milk I'm drinking?
What's in it?
If you ask the author of this controversial new book, you may not want to hear the answer.
The milk we're drinking is filled with fat. We know that. Cholesterol. We don't know it's filled with virus, bacteria, powerful growth hormones, proteins that cause a vast array of allergies in the human body. This is not nature's perfect food.
In a book called Milk, the Deadly Poison, Robert Cohen attacks what's long been considered the perfect food, claiming it can be a dangerous brew of chemical, biological, and bacterial agents that may also contain a growth hormone he believes can trigger the growth of cancer.
We know children come into puberty earlier in America. We don't know why. Every sip of milk, they're drinking, in addition to this most powerful growth hormone, 59 different bioactive hormones. What nations have the highest rates of breast cancer in the world? I ask people, they say, United States. Denmark, Norway, Holland, and Sweden. What nations have the highest rates of osteoporosis, crippling bone disease? Denmark, Norway, Holland, and Sweden. The dairy industry, every dairy farmer, and there are probably a few in the audience now, you know that for every 100 pounds of milk you produce, you got to pay 15 cents to the national fluid milk processors. Doesn't sound like a lot of money. What are they doing with that money? It's $500 million a year to paint milk mustaches on the lips of models.
Robert, welcome to Your Health.
Nice to be here.
Mother says milk is good. What is this? Milk is no good.
Let me tell you about milk. The #1 protein in milk is casein, C-A-S-E-I-N. That's 80% of the protein in milk. That's the same glue they use to put a label on a bottle of beer. That's the same glue they use to hold your wooden furniture together.
So we're drinking glue.
You're drinking glue, and you create so much mucus. This much casein, this much mucus.
Okay, we're getting technical. You're using a lot of chemicals.
Yeah.
What qualifies you to talk about these?
Well, the greatest controversy in the history of the Food and Drug Administration was the genetic engineering of milk. I'm the only person in America to be invited to meet with a group of top scientists at FDA. I used to do research, $50 word, psychoneuroendocrinology, the study of brain and behavior, how hormones affect behavior. And I uncovered secrets. I opened up a Pandora's box of secrets that the dairy industry wishes had never been opened.
If milk is so bad, then how come everybody else is so wrong and so brainwashed that it's good for you?
Well, they get Calcium Ripken to pose for his milk mustache. Spike Lee, you got 500,000 kids in the New York area that have asthma. They're drinking this glue every day. Spike Lee, 95% of African Americans are lactose intolerant. How could he wear this milk mustache? This is a message. Money is spent by the dairy industry. If you're a doctor, you call their toll-free number, 800-Y-MILK. They'll send you $200 worth of free information. You call my toll-free number, 888-NOT-MILK, you'll get the truth. We're getting the message out as one voice to America. Milk does not do the body good.
So, got milk? No.
Not milk.
Not milk. We have a phone number where people can reach you, and what is that?
It's toll-free. It's 888-NOT-MILK.
Robert, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is this a nice cold glass of tasty milk or a toxic liquid causing a horrible future of diarrhea?
Hey Fruitbats, it's Freely Banana Girl here. Welcome to another episode. So today's video is about milk, okay? It's about that white stuff that everybody seems to love chugging down, okay? Is it healthy for you? Is it ethical? So let's get into it.
Well, here's something they don't tell you. Pasteurized milk often contains alarming levels of pus,
gross,
also known as somatic cells, which are the same kind of cells produced in a giant zit on your forehead. An 8-ounce glass of milk can contain up to 180 million pus cells. It is essentially the same liquid you spray on the mirror when you pop a giant nasty zit.
Because it's disgusting. Sucking on a cow's boobie is, I'm not into it anymore.
Not even a bit of cheese?
No, no more cheese. No more pus for me.
Pus free. Think about it. How disgusting is that? That reason alone is enough for me to never touch dairy or milk ever again. So next up we're going to talk about RBGH. It's a synthetic hormone that's injected into cows to make them produce more milk. Check this out.
Imagine a cow on crack cocaine. That's how author Robert Cohen describes something shot into millions of cows on American farms.
It's a great time to be a high-producing cow. Posilac One Step. Bovine somatotropin by Monsanto.
The scientists within Health Canada looked very carefully at bovine growth hormone and came to very different conclusions than the Food and Drug Administration in the U.S. did. They saw serious potential human health problems and they stood up in Canada and said, we're not going to approve this because we don't believe it's safe.
It's not just about the recombinant bovine growth hormone or the antibiotics in, conventional milk. It's also about the naturally occurring hormones in cow's milk. Over 80 active hormones which aren't meant to be in the human body.
Our antibodies don't understand what these hormones are. There's one hormone called IGF-1, which is insulin-like growth factor 1. And when it's taken into the human body, it makes our pituitary gland secrete more growth hormones. So when you have cancer, that causes cells to replicate.
Does milk increase mucus production? Opioid receptors on the mucus glands in the respiratory tract may respond to the casomorphin from milk, which could potentially stimulate the production and secretion of mucus from these respiratory glands.
And remember folks, mucus is a transport medium that is designed, it is produced by the body to transport our toxins that we've ingested. Alright, so this next little section is about the connection between milk protein and cancer.
Those who consumed the highest levels of animal proteins in their diets were 4 times more likely to die of cancer than low-protein eaters. According to the study, that rate is similar to the cancer risk between smokers and non-smokers.
Okay, so that's some pretty scary shit right there. It's a good reason to give up dairy products today.
Calcium intake has little or nothing to do with the health of the bones. Focus on those words. Protein having a detrimental effect on the calcium. Don't forget those words, because the dairy industry's forgot them.
Researchers are yet to discover one single case of calcium deficiency due to a low calcium intake. The cruelty factor. Well, I'm not going to really talk about it much because I'm going to show you the disgusting cruelty that goes on in the dairy industry. This happens all around the world, okay?
Many cows have holes punched through their ears and have their horns or sensitive horn tissue cut or burned off without any painkillers. Some farmers even remove parts of cows' tails with rubber bands or sharp knives.
Welcome to hell on earth for millions of cows every day, every moment of the day. You've got to realize when you purchase dairy, you are putting your money towards that industry. You're supporting that sort of treatment. You're saying that's okay.
So where do we go from here? Here's what the science says.
Hello, this is Brennan Head, and I'm here to tell you the truth behind the ingredients of these labels on the back of your everyday products, largely processed here in the United States. And I've done my research, and I can tell you right now what's in them, and you should avoid. Just try to do my duty here. And as corn, soy, canola oil, cottonseed, sugar, dairy, palm oil, artificial flavor and colors, of course, and the sickening TBHQ. I mean, if you just knew exactly what all this was and how it was made, you definitely wouldn't want to eat it. And first of all, why you should be worried about corn, soy, canola oil, cottonseed, and sugar is the fact that 80% of these products are genetically engineered, which is known as a GMO, a genetically modified organism. And what that is a plant or animal that's went through the process of genetic engineering in a lab. It is forced with genes of another organism to give this product, you can say, new traits that were never seen in nature before. These scientists got to take what is called a gene gun and artificially inject it into the genome of the particular species it's working on. And this is basically playing God, you could say, at nature's expense, and our expense of our health. And the fact that back in the mid-90s, before this was even released, the FDA warned that can create new toxins, immune disorders, and allergens that we're seeing today. And you just put two and two together, the coincidence of genetic engineering has rise with people's health conditions, such as gluten intolerance. And it's being found that glyphosate, a chemical that corn has been genetically engineered, produced itself, it's been registered as a chemical. And because the insects, when they bite into this corn, it causes their stomachs to rupture. And that the very same thing can be happening to us. It basically bursts into our bloodstream and gets into it because we have these alien genes that our bodies are receiving for, that they have created, and that's creating these sensitivities that people are seeing. And the activist said enough, I believe, with that. And the soy has estrogen-like properties, and it's very devastating to the environment. Argentina, where farmers have just not had the money because these companies' patents. And there's cottonseed, which is sprayed heavily with chemicals that we probably wear on us. And then the canola oil, and you have the sugar, which is probably from genetically engineered sugar beets, your refined white sugar. And the palm kernel oil, that right there, why is a reason of concern, is because indigenous peoples of South America have been ran off their land purposely by companies seeking to take it and make it into these plantations. And not to mention the orangutans that were home to these forests were ran out. They're tracked down, they're tranquilized, they're taken away, and some are killed. What these companies are doing is just barbaric, basically. I mean, they've burned down forests. And P&G just recently made one. And this one company, you know, it's not even necessarily a food company, but they're cashing in on the palm oil. Then we have dairy. Now, dairy is likely from cows that were given genetically engineered feed that are probably in factory farms, more than likely, that is confined feeding operations, CFAs, and they're injected with bovine growth hormones, which is a product of genetic engineering, and antibiotics, because if not, they can get really sick. And it also is to promote the growth rate in the animal. And it's all for profit. And what's the cost of profit? One crosses the animal's health to your health, and the environment's health at large. So every dairy product you could see in a product, like butter and skim milk, for example, is likely from those operations and processed foods. And we have the artificial flavor, which can have up to 100 chemical compounds. And for proprietary reasons, these companies don't have to disclose what exactly these chemical compounds they're using are. And it's all for profit. It's to cheapen the product at the expense of health. They don't care. When in other countries, they have rejected this too. Like GMOs have been rejected, and by the people after that the news was found out about that 15 years ago. So, you know, you have artificial flavorings, which ain't real. That's exactly what it does mean, basically. But there's more to it. And then you have artificial colorings, which can be linked to behavioral issues and hyperactivity in children. Now, Food Babe, I applaud her for what she's doing. She came out against Kraft for its artificial colorings. While when our product is shipped over there, it has a warning label, and the Kraft macaroni and cheese, for example, does not contain that. It's all no artificial colorings. It's made from real food colorings. So it's possible. And same deal with M&M's. A petition was launched against them. It's the very least it can be done. And I do hope for success, and the word gets out. And we've had such issues with Subway and their yoga mat ingredient, which Food Babe also brought out to the news. That gone to the mainstream. You know, so these are some ingredients to look out for, other than TBHQ, which is like artificial dyes, colors are made from petroleum. That is what they're from, and it can cause nausea, vomiting, to tinnitus, and the behavioral issues, the hyperactivity. It's just not meant to eat. No, just like artificial flavors to genetic engineering wasn't meant to eat. And you best be on the lookout for nanoparticles, which is a study found it to be present in Dunkin' Donuts, the powder. These nanoparticles get in our blood and disrupt our heart because they're like microscopic. It's a new technology, and there's been other studies and more in the works to keep on that. Very dangerous, I believe. And then there's the new genetic engineering called synthetic genetic engineering, which from what I learned, they can use a computer to simulate a product and make a totally from DNA not really grown in a field. And whether it's going to be grown in a field, I don't know, but it's new. It's something to look out. And it's the fact that all these ingredients or products is well reason to look for organic, go to your farmers markets, and grow your own food, which I have a video called Return the Farmer, and which we so desperately need. We all have the power in our hands. So I recommend checking out the video as a reason in opposition to these ingredients, and demand these companies as well do the right thing. I wish everyone the best of luck in their endeavors. Keep learning. That's the key into your health and your family's health. Let the food revolution happen.